It doesn't take long of owning a four-wheel drive before you'll want to modify the suspension. Now, maybe not quite as much as the race car here, but there are legitimate reasons why you'll be looking at doing that. It could be you've added a bull bar, a winch, it could be you just want more under-vehicle clearance. Whatever the reason is, adding a suspension lift is a really common modification and a really effective modification that you can do to your vehicle. Now, if you've got an independent suspension vehicle like this Hilux here, you can run into a number of other challenges. It's not as simple as just putting a lift in by adding bigger springs. When you do that, you can start to affect the steering geometry and the geometry of the suspension system in a way that negatively affects the way the vehicle operates. And we don't want that to happen. So there's a number of very cool things we can do to rectify that situation and not only solve those problems, we also strengthen the components so that we have a stronger suspension system in our vehicle. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about upper control arms, or UCAs as they're commonly known. There's two key dimensions that relate to the way a wheel sits on a vehicle. They're called caster and camber. Now, when we add a suspension lift to our vehicle, the camber will change. Now, camber relates to the way the wheel lays in or out of the vehicle. When you're traveling down the road, a wheel is not sitting straight up and down as you might think. In an ideal world, we want the top of the wheel to lean outward just a little bit, and that's going to give us good steering, good handling, and good tyre life. But when we raise the suspension, we're going to find that the top of the tyre is going to start to lean outwards like this, a little bit further than they normally would. And that's going to give us a very unstable vehicle. It can give us bad steering, heavy steering, poor tyre wear. So we need to correct that. The other dimension is caster, and that's like the shopping trolley wheel that follows along behind the pivot point. Well, there's a certain amount of caster designed into these systems, and we want to correct that back to the factory specifications. Now, all of these independent suspensions have a number of ways that the factory designs it so that it can be adjusted when you get a wheel alignment. And we want to get all of these parameters back into specification so when it goes for a wheel alignment, it's all correct. Now that's where the upper control arm, or the UCA, comes into play. It's going to bring all of those critical components back into play. A quality UCA needs to be able to allow the suspension to operate to its full extent. So it needs to be able to allow the wheel to go all the way down and all the way back up. But what happens when you hit a big washout or a big bump at speed off-road? Having a properly designed UCA that allows for that hyperextension, that extreme off-road environment, is a really key part of the design of these UCAs. So this is the factory UCA that came out of this vehicle. Now you can see that this has been made out of a sheet of steel that's been pressed, folded and bent to create the upper arm. Now for a general light duty Hilux that's not going to be used in an extreme environment, this serves the purpose. You can change out the ball joint, it's got bonded rubber bushes in there, and all is good. But when you start using a four-wheel drive with a heavy load on the front end, like a bull bar and a winch, and then your high-speed off-road, these arms are not going to cope with it. Now, because we've added our suspension lift, we've changed the position that the UCA is going to sit at normal ride height. So incorporated into the upper arm here is a new zero position. And what that's going to mean is that the ball joint in the UCA is in zero position at ride height. That allows the ball joint to move freely within its range of travel, whether the arm is going up or going down. And that's going to give us a nice long life out of this ball joint. Now these ball joints are all made with chrome moly, which is a very high performance steel. And the ball joint's got the grease nipple up the top here, so you can put a shot of grease in there when you're servicing the vehicle and it'll keep everything in working order. The ball joint housing, which is this section here, is made of a high quality forged steel, and then that's welded into the tube section that creates the main chassis of the UCA. As the UCA is travelling through its suspension travel from full droop to full compression, it's got to be able to clear all of the other components that are inside the suspension system. So our springs, our lines down here, our sway bar and all of these components, everything needs to clear and cycle in a nice clean way. And these UCAs have been designed to do that. There's mounting points in accordance with your vehicle to accommodate ABS lines or any other components that need to run along the UCA. Now both the bush and the ball joint are serviceable items, so you can buy them individually from Terrain Tamer and get them fitted up to your upgraded Terrain Tamer UCAs. So I hope that's helped you understand how the Terrain Tamer UCAs can help you with your four-wheel driving. I'm Mad Matt, stay safe on the trails. Terrain Tamer have a 50-year-old promise to deliver quality engineered four-wheel drive parts.